I had just moved to a small town in Massachusetts, Elmwood, to take a break from the chaos of New York. The town was quiet, the people friendly, and I rented an old two-story house on Elmwood Street. It was built in the 1930s and had a rustic charm. The rent was suspiciously cheap, but I didn't question it. That was my first mistake. The realtor, a gray-haired woman named Margaret, smiled tightly when she handed me the keys. "Just one thing," she said as I signed the lease. "The basement, best keep it locked." I raised an eyebrow. "Why?" Her smile faltered for a split second. "Old plumbing. Mold issues. Nothing serious, just dangerous to your health." I nodded, not thinking much of it. I had no reason to go into the basement anyway. But by the third night, things changed. It started with noises, soft banging sounds under the floorboards while I lay in bed. At first, I thought it was rats or maybe the old pipes. But then I started hearing whispers. Yes, whispers. Faint voices, as if two people were arguing in low tones, muffled and distant. It came from below, from the basement. The door to the basement was locked with a heavy iron bolt. I tried opening it once, just out of curiosity, but it wouldn't budge. I even tried calling Margaret, but she didn't pick up. Ever again. On the fifth night, I was woken up at 2:37 a.m., the same time every night, by a loud thump. This time, it shook the floor. The whispers were louder now. Clearer. I could hear a man's voice saying, "She doesn't belong here." And another, deeper voice replying, "She will stay." I froze. The next morning, I found the basement door ajar. It was impossible. I hadn't touched the lock since the day I moved in. Terrified but too curious, I went to the local library to dig into the house's history. That's when I discovered the story of the Holloway family. In 1947, a young couple had lived in that house. Michael and Eleanor Holloway. Michael was a professor. Eleanor was a nurse. They were well-loved, until one night, Eleanor vanished. Michael claimed she left him, but neighbors reported hearing screaming coming from the house for weeks before she disappeared. No body was ever found. Later that same year, Michael hanged himself in the basement. His suicide note only had 4 chilling words. "She's still down there." I rushed home, shaking, heart pounding. I was ready to pack up and leave. But the house wouldn't let me. That night, the lights flickered violently. The air turned cold. I tried to leave, but the front door wouldn't open. Neither would the windows. The only door that was open was the basement's. A foul, rotting smell wafted up the stairs. I held my phone flashlight and descended step by step. The wooden steps creaked under my feet. My breath became visible in the freezing air. At the bottom of the stairs was a dark, low-ceilinged room. Cobwebs hung like curtains. Rusted chains dangled from the walls. And in the far corner, something was wrapped in black tarp, roughly human-sized. I approached, heart in my throat. Just as I reached for it, the light on my phone died. I stood in total darkness. And then I heard breathing. Not mine. Slow, deep, and angry. Suddenly, a hand grabbed my ankle. I screamed, kicking and scrambling backward. The lights in the basement flickered on, old bulbs swinging from the ceiling. In the light, I saw her. A woman, face pale and sunken, dressed in a torn 1940s nurse's outfit. Eleanor Holloway. She stared at me with empty eyes and whispered, "You took his place. You'll stay with me now." I bolted up the stairs. The door slammed shut behind me, but somehow I got out. I spent the night in my car, trembling and unable to sleep. The next morning, I drove to the nearest motel and checked in. I tried to forget, but that night, at exactly 2:37 a.m., there was a knock on my motel door. 3 soft taps. I didn't answer, but from the other side, I heard her whisper, "You never left.